Good morning, everyone. I'm going to walk you through, unfortunately, what we've learned here more about fires and high residue farming. So we're out here about 6 in the morning now harvesting. I think we probably could have started even earlier. When it's this dry out and we're in a drought and the relative humidity never gets above about 50% even at night, really you could cut pretty much all night, I think, and it wouldn't be too tough. It's just things go wrong when you cut in the dark, it seems like. So we try to avoid that, but what we have learned is once that relative humidity number gets below about 20%, the fire danger gets pretty high, and we're going to just look at probably shutting down harvest once that happens. The other day when this fire started, when we started out in the morning, we were already down to about 30% relative humidity. We got to about 10 o'clock or 10:30 when that fire started. I think it had got down around 20%. It was still only about 80 degrees out, but it is just so dry out here that the fire risk is pretty high even at that. So here's what we've learned. We put hardened steel skids on the stripper header. Those are great for holding up in the rocks because we do have a fair amount of rocks here, but those hardened steel skid plates tend to spark more after I did some Google research, it sounds like. So Wendy came up with a great idea on how to prevent that fire situation again. And we coated those steel skids, as you'll see in this video, with Herculiner, which is just bed liner like you put in your pickup. That'll stop most of that steel to rock contact underneath that header. And then every night we'll just check that. And if we have to recoat some spots that got scratched off, that's our plan, is just to recoat it. It takes about 12 hours to cure. So that's our first step we're going to take here to prevent this specific scenario from ever happening again. The other thing is when it's really dry, when we are seeding, we learned if we get below the same, about that 30% relative humidity, the fire danger is a lot higher. If we were out in this much residue seeding winter wheat, we would just get going way early in the morning, maybe go back to seeding at night and then skip the middle of the day when it's so hot outside. The other thing with the drill is we just slow down speeds. So normally we can seed about 6 miles, 6.5 miles an hour with that. We might slow down to 4.5 or 5, and that's just less sparking that can happen off of those discs. We've got fire rigs rigged up. This is our 2-ton Chevy fire truck. We really like this rig because of the amount of water that's in it, but it's not very nimble, and it takes a while to run back, get it started, and get it to a fire. Sometimes it doesn't want to start as well because it's an old truck. So we are actually going to rig up a second fire rig that's almost done. It's on a Dodge 1-ton or 3/4-ton pickup on a flatbed. That'll be out in the field as well, and then we can use that to help neighbors and hopefully pay them back. If they end up having fires, we can run both these rigs over there as well. So we've got that Dodge pickup rigged up. We've got water-filled fire extinguishers in the grain cart, in the combine, in the side-by-sides. And we almost had this out the other day with one of those water-filled fire extinguishers. Just Wendy hopped off the combine, had it squirted pretty well down, and then that thing ran out of water and we couldn't get this fire rig over there quick enough. So like I said, we've got this pickup now that'll stay close in the field that can be ran right over to help fight the fire, and then we can knock it out with 2 rigs at the same time if we need to. God forbid, hopefully this is the last learning thing this year that we have to go through. We're learning this farming system has been fantastic for us as far as ground cover and some of this stuff doing pretty well even in droughty conditions, but there is some more risk when you have this much residue out in the field. So we're going to do everything we can to avoid fires. I know, God forbid, that if that ever happens again, we are going to be rigged up as well as we can to come help fight that stuff. And if we learn anything else this year, we'll let you guys know. Hopefully that's our last learning experience. I guess the last thing I could cover is we don't ever bring gas powered side-by-sides or ATVs out in the field anymore. I burnt one up several years ago out in the field here, in this same field actually, because straw got up on top of the motor as we were driving across the field. We bought Mahindra Roxer that we use out in this scenario, and it's a little diesel without any emission stuff on it. Those Roxers are awesome because they sit up pretty good. They have a diesel motor that'll never start a fire, and we can buzz all over in this stubble without any kind of fire danger. Like I said, our gas side-by-sides, we just keep completely out of this scenario anymore as well. So anyways, we'll walk you through. Hopefully that's the last lesson. Like I said, for this year, we'll walk you through anything else we learn, and we hope you guys have a safe and productive harvest. And we'll get through this drought, and get it over with and get on to a better year.